Christine Tremarco, welcome to An Actor Despairs. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm really well. It's so lovely to speak to you.
It is so lovely to speak to you. I mean, I we were just speaking a little bit before we hit record, but obviously everything that you have done in Adolescence has been transcended. I mean, I feel like you're breaking down barriers and regions and cultures, and your performance in that show is incredible. I mean, it really is just so magnificent. And it's so great, as someone who's known Philip for a little bit to see what he's created and what you've created and what Steven's created and Jack. It's just incredible work. And I'm only getting now to speak to you, but I'm just so proud of you. And I'm so excited to get a chance to
Oh,
speak with
thank
you.
you. Thank you. I
And
think
no, please
no,
continue.
I just think adolescence as a whole was just such a joyous but heartbreaking at times experience. But the whole team,
Mm.
the whole team with Phil at the helm and the whole cast and crew, such an honor to be a part of.
Well, you really, I mean, you made it happen. And it's so great to be able to finally have this conversation. So, as my audience knows, I like to start at the beginning. Where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Liverpool, and I was mostly brought up in Kirby, where Stephen's from as well. Stephen's
Wow.
from Kirby, yeah.
Did
So we
did
knew
you
each other.
Wow.
Yeah, Steve's mum and my mum were best friends when we were growing up in Kirby.
No way. So were you guys like friends growing up?
Yeah, so we've known each other since we were babies, me and Steve.
Well, let's focus on you for a second. I'm so curious. Like, talk to me, you know, childhood. What did your parents do for a living? Were they artists or?
Yeah, my mum. I mean, my mum worked at, a couple of normal jobs, but my mum very much liked to sing.
Mm.
So I was brought up, and my uncles, musicians, especially like my uncle Ali's a brilliant musician. So I was brought up around a lot of music, I'd say, not necessarily acting. So
Wow.
it was a very musical family, I think I come from. Yeah. And my dad, he didn't do any acting or or play any music. He just had a normal job. So it was, but I think there was definitely a musical influence growing up.
Were you quite musical yourself, being around that?
I played the drums. I played the drums when I was a teenager for a couple of years, and then I lost interest in that. I played the flute for a bit, but no, I was more so drawn to drama. I
Uh-huh.
I started. We'd moved out to Kirby, and I started in a brilliant place called the Chiltern Stage School when I was 14, and then it was £1 a week. So we're going back
Wow.
34 years ago. So I used to go once a week, and we do improvisation. Like our classes were like with an actor, Richard, who was marvelous. He's passed away now, bless him, Richard. But it was very free, and so we just be given scenarios, and then we just play. I mean, it was wonderful.
And obviously you mentioned that you knew Steven. Like, was he into acting as well? Did you guys go to this thing together?
No, we didn't go together, no, because we moved out to Kirby. So it's like mine and Stephen's friendship is like there's been times where we haven't seen each other for a long time, but then it's always come back round.
Yeah.
And no, Stephen went the Everyman, which
Okay.
is a theatre group in Liverpool city centre. So we didn't go to the same drama group now.
And I'm curious, just so we could paint the landscape a little bit for the audience. Like for people that don't live in the UK, Liverpool to like London, what are we talking about distance wise there?
I think it's about 4.5. I think it's about 4.5 hours to drive, but it's 2 hours, 15 minutes on a train. So
Wow.
that's quick now. But when I was younger, it took a lot longer than that to get up to London.
So there's probably their own distinct culture in Liverpool, would you say?
I would say so, yeah. It's. I think with us having the Mersey being close to water,
Wow. And
it's
and
very. It's got an energy, Liverpool. I mean, I lived away. I spent like 10 years in London, and then I ended up coming back home, and I live quite close to the city centre, which I love. But I just, I love our city, and I love the people. It's a very friendly city. People like to gab.
yeah, I could
People
see
like
that.
to talk.
I
It's
love that.
lovely.
And so then when you went to those the improv, Was it at that point that you just got immediately you fell in love with the craft of acting?
I think for me, I remember the first time I went and Richard said, I want you to all pick an animal and then pretend to be that animal. That was my very first lesson. And I remember I picked a monkey. And so I just ran around pretending to be a monkey. And I just loved it. I absolutely loved the fun of it. And then what happened was, I mean, it was almost like a fluke. Casting agents came over from Australia and they'd looked in Australia, they'd looked in London, and then they put out a call to all the drama groups and schools, and it was in the local paper that they were looking for two children to star in this four-part drama called The Leaving of Liverpool, which was quite a controversial true story about in the 1950s, the British government
Yeah.
shipped out kids who were in orphanages to Rhodesia, New Zealand, and Australia, and they were mostly used as slave labour.
Oh my God.
And the casting agent Liz Mulliner and the director Mike and Stephen Atman, the producer, came to the drama group, and I auditioned for it, and I got it. And then the next, so at 14, I was on a plane to Australia to play Lily.
Did you have an awareness at the time of like, this is kind of crazy, this never happens?
Yeah, I think at that age, I think there's an element of no fear.
Mm.
And I'd never read a script before, and um, it was me and Kevin Natman. He just brought me co-star in it because we were playing the two leads. Like we were both like 14-year-old kids. He'd brought his little sister to the audition to play my character Young. And the casting agent said, would you like to audition? And he did, and he got the part. So we were two kids on a plane to Australia. We'd never read a script before. Obviously, we were given pages when we were auditioning. But then what they did out there, which was brilliant, the director, Mike Jenkins, brought in an acting coach for us she didn't teach us how to act.
Mm.
She taught us how to prep the scenes, because we weren't shooting in story order. So we
Oh.
learned how to prep, do notes on each scene. And I still work that way now when you're not shooting in order. And that stayed with me for all these years. So I was with a really good team of people. I got taught how to conduct myself on a set, how to prep. I mean, it was just an amazing experience. I mean, it was like a bit of a fluke.
Yeah, I mean, it's like both going to film school and drama school at the same time. I mean, that's so incredible. At the time, like, how do you feel? Because I feel like at 14, we pretend to be so confident, but we're not really. And how did you not get overwhelmed with the sheer volume and intensity of the workload? I mean, especially in a foreign country.
I think for me, I mean, I'd never been on an airplane before. So, I mean, that for me, and what a journey to do was so exciting. And I think when you're younger, I mean, especially like for myself when I was younger, there was less fear. And because I had such a wonderful support team around me. And even then, I enjoyed the escapism of it. I mean, there were some heavy scenes, but I think as a child, I could put that away so much easier than sometimes you can as an adult.
Yeah.
So it was an amazing experience. But I remember coming back from Australia and feeling like I really missed it because you become like a family. And I miss playing Lily.
Yeah.
I miss going, putting the costume on because it was in the 1950s. That I
Wow.
missed the whole experience of it. So I felt quite because then I was like, oh, I'm an actress now, but then I
How
went. It was quite confusing to be honest when I wrapped that job.
how long were you away for?
We shot in Liverpool. We did 3.5 months in Australia,
Wow.
and then I think we shot 3 weeks in Liverpool.
And then at this point, when you come back from that job, I imagine you've grown so much both as a human, as an artist. Then do you have a hard time kind of readjusting to,
I did, yeah.
yeah,
I did when I went back to school, and I really missed it. And then what that's taught me when I look back getting older is that I missed the almost the therapy of it, the escapism of it, the challenge of it.
yeah, wow. And at that point, then, because of that show, were you able to get an agent in the
Yeah,
UK?
no, not then. But what happened was I didn't. My next professional role, the late brilliant director Antonia Bird was cast in a film called Priest, which was written by the brilliant Jimmy McGovern, starring Linus Roach and Bobby Carlyle. It had a brilliant cast, and she'd seen The Leaving of Liverpool because The Leaving of Liverpool had been out then. So when I was 17, she cast me in a film called Priest. I mean, it caused a lot of controversy to do with like the Catholic Church and it's a brilliant film. And when that got released when I was 18 in the UK, that got me a London agent.
And
So I was very lucky.
and leaving Liverpool, did that air both in the UK and Australia? So did you have an agent in Australia as well?
No,
Okay.
no, I didn't in Australia. But I did go back out to Australia. I mean, this is again like how lucky I was. The same writers and producers of The Leaving of Liverpool developed a 10-part series called Border Town, where Hugo Weaving was
Wow.
playing my Liverpudlian dad in it, and Kate Blanchett was in it. I think she'd not long left drama school. And I turned 18 out there. I got flew back out and shot another series out there.
How
It
was
was,
that experience?
I mean, for me, because at that time I went on my own. I, I was 6 months in Australia working with people I'd worked with before. Ken Cameron set up the beginning of that series, a brilliant Australian director. Um, and again, just getting to work with brilliant people.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, Priest had come out, and that's what got me a London agent. Yeah. I mean, I was so lucky.
But I mean, obviously so talented and you rose to the work and that's what really made it happen. I'm curious because, I feel like in the UK especially, with like for the audience listening, what we call Actors Access here, you guys call Spotlight. I know
Yeah.
for a long time the traditional way to get on that was to go to drama school. And obviously
Yeah.
most people go to drama school to work, but you were already working. What did
Yeah.
it look like for you? Like, were you thinking about drama school ever?
Yeah. I mean, when I got my first London agents, who were wonderful, they did advise me to go to drama school. I remember getting the form to RADA and Lambda. Was it Lambda? I think Bristol over. There was a few. Um, and I also got told to lose my Liverpool accent because it could stop me getting work. Because sometimes people can't see outside of that. Um, which I didn't want to because I feel like that's my identity. And so I just really worked on accents. But it was actually Antonia Bird, the beautiful late Antonia Bird, who, when I spoke to her about going to drama school, she asked me, "Did you like school?" And I said, "No, not really." And she said, "Well, maybe you won't like drama school, and maybe just concentrate on your accent so you can play different characters and learn on the floor, learn being on the set." So I didn't end up going to drama school. So I learned on the job. I
Wow.
feel, yeah. And just getting given, especially when I was younger, really good opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot cooler time for the industry than right now.
Yeah.
But talk to me then, because obviously, are you moving to London to like a major city when you turn 18, or did you stay in Liverpool?
I stayed in Liverpool, but then when I got into my early 20s, I mean, I was lucky. I already had friends and family in London, but I just wanted to get out to Liverpool and have the adventure of living in London because I've only ever, I think, done two jobs in London. So I
Wow.
moved to London, but then I was always coming up north. It seemed like on and off to work, but then that's where most of your meetings would be. But it didn't feel like I had to move to London as an actor. I just really wanted the adventure of it. But it
Okay.
was an easy transition for me because I know, like, especially when I was younger, a lot of people doing that move, the expense of it, not knowing people,
Yeah.
who who live in that city. But I was quite blessed having family and friends there already.
And,
And being actively auditioning as well.
wow.
That plays a massive part, I think.
Yeah. Back in the days when you got to go in the room.
That's it. Those days, yeah.
And talk to me about that time in your life, like was that really just such a wonderful time? Like, do you feel like you were learning on the jobs that as they came in?
Yeah, I remember feeling early on because I'd only been to a couple of auditions, and then I was lucky enough to get cast in a couple of things that when I was first auditioning in London, I didn't really know like the etiquette of it.
Mm.
So I remember an agent ringing me. I think I've been to like a couple of meetings when I first got my London agent. And I remember an agent ringing me going, Christine, like you left the audition early. And I was like, no, it didn't. And she was like they end the meeting, you don't end the meeting.
No, what happened? What'd you do?
So I would just be like, I remember it, like, I think it was like the second proper audition I had in London, since I got a London agent. I mean, I'm going back 30 years ago. So it's a long time ago. And I remember I performed the two scenes. And then I was like, okay, well, thank you so much. And I left. And apparently they wanted to talk to me more, or they wanted like to try another scene. And I just thought, oh, okay, I've done what you've asked me to do. And I'll leave. And I used to do things like they'd say like, well, you changed that line. And I'd be like, well, I didn't like the line, which is like, you just don't say.
Amazing.
I was really quite naive to it, really. And then obviously I learned the etiquette.
Mm.
And then, and also learning then sometimes, especially in those days, you would get sometimes 3 recalls and not get cast.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And you'd
mean,
be gunning for it and gunning for it. And, you and the other actors, it'd all be sitting outside the room with your sides. But I feel so grateful. I had such a wonderful time in me early to mid 20s playing that game.
was there someone at this point in your life? Was there an actor whose career you were trying to emulate? Was there someone who was kind of advising you on a path to kind of build a certain career? Like who was helping mentor you?
I think I was really lucky with a few people who were around me, with agents, speaking to other actors, directors like Adrian Sheargold, Antonia Baird, Phil Davis, who gave me some brilliant advice, and actress Rachel Davis, who was a great mentor to me, growing up. And I think the fact that I had that, I was really lucky, and also that thing as well. I remember chatting to Phil Davis, brilliant actor and director, um, and I've been offered something, this role, and I was like, I don't know what to do. My agent thinks it's a bit small, and he said that thing, no small parts, only small actors going to think about how you're going to feel playing that. Like if you want to play it, you go and play it, and I did. So all these beautiful bits of advice,
Mm.
yeah, like have stayed with me. And also from the beginning, to be on a set with a team as wonderful that were on the Leaving of Liverpool and Bordertown and Priest, getting to work with fantastic actors. I
Yeah.
think that all lends itself to feeling, giving you that bit of extra confidence when you're on the floor working as well.
Mm. Well put. Did you have any acting coaches or anyone that you studied with during this time?
No,
Mm.
no, I've never no, I've never done that. I've never studied with an acting coach. I did have the beautiful, brilliant late Joan Washington, um, who I'd spent quite a lot of time on different jobs, who helped me develop accents for characters.
Wow.
And that was just such a gift. I mean, it's just a brilliant voice coach,
W- w-
which I mean, I still use some of the rhythms and ways that Joan taught me when I was younger. My first accent, which was London, which was a dream come true to me, was playing him. It was the same director as Priest, Antonia Baird, and she rang me and said, "I've got a role for you. I want you to play Ray Winston's daughter in this film." And I was
Wow.
like, calling from Scum, like the film that made me want to become an actress, like one of the films.
No
And
way.
she said, I said, oh, I don't know if I can do the accent. And she said, oh, you'll be able to do it. You'll be working with Joan Washington.
No
And so
way.
Joan really helped me. Yeah. And also, dictaphone and people who were from certain areas with accents. So I'd say coach, right? Yeah. I mean, without a doubt, I was so blessed with Joan Washington to do with voices.
And obviously, coming from Liverpool and having another actor, Steven, at this point, who builds a career pretty young as well, did at a certain point did you guys kind of reconnect in the business?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, like we've always kept in touch, me and say, but we've never. I mean, we've been shooting in the same city on different jobs, and I'm good friends with his beautiful wife Hannah, who's also an amazing actress and just a brilliant producer. And so, work-wise, myself and Steve, what were we on? We were on Little Boy Blue. I went and did a bit of Nan in a few apps, but we didn't have any dialogue together. So we didn't get to play together in that way, but we were in the same scene. So Adolescence is the first time I'd say we proper got to dance together. Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, talk to me
No.
then. Obviously, as the all this kind of TV landscape was happening for you and some films, it sounds like was theater something you were ever interested in?
I think I've only ever performed one play.
Talk to me about that.
Yeah, that was and I was early 20s and it was at the Royal Court in London and it was a play called Presence. It was written by David Harrow, who's a brilliant playwright. And I played a German waitress who hated everything Germany stood for, so she pretended to be American.
Wow.
I don't think, I don't think I nailed that American accent on the stage.
Oh man.
I was like trying to like be De Niro, like I was a massive De Niro fan, so I was like really pushing it out there. And I
Yeah.
was like, she's pretending, so I can like maybe get away with this, but I thought it was a bit much, really looking back. But a lot of the other cast were their accents were they had to be from Liverpool, which was a bit funny. But I enjoyed doing that play. But that's the only play I've ever performed, and I mean, I'd like to get on the stage again, but I think you've got to be really in love with the character to. I think I
Yeah.
have to get on the stage, but I know, yeah, I've only ever done one play. Yeah,
Well, talk to me then. Obviously, as you started building these kind of like reoccurring and series regular credits, I feel like there's a misconception in the UK that it's just like costume dramas or like Downtown Abbey and nowhere in between. What did your career start to look like as you kind of got in your later 20s and 30s? Did you start playing different types of characters?
yeah. I mean, I do remember feeling that. I mean, I was really lucky, especially like my early 20s, going into my mid 20s and getting to play different characters. Like I remember the first time I played a policewoman, I was so excited. The first time I got to play a mum, I was so excited. When I played Ava Braun, Hitler's wife, who like it was that's to me. I think I was about 26 when we shot that, and I remember having a moment of thinking, "Oh my god, now I'm starting to feel more like an actress." I mean, it took me years to start feeling like, okay, I'm building and I'm
Yeah.
learning, and each job we learn on. But I think that was definitely a moment for me where I was like, okay, wow, like I can't believe I'm playing her. you
How,
know?
how, how did that come your way? Talk to me about that project.
It was an audition. I
Wow.
just got offered an audition, and it was a brilliant director who I've worked with a couple of times after that, Nick Renton. And we shot it in Lithuania. Ken Stott, a brilliant actor. He played Hitler. Elaine Cassidy, a brilliant actress. She played Gelly, Hitler's niece. And we went out to Lithuania and shot it. And it was an amazing experience. But it was almost like I'd stepped into a place where I was like, and that's like I think I was about 26, but I was thinking, okay, now I'm starting to feel more like a proper
Yeah.
actress, if that makes sense. But there was definitely times I think where I've got disillusioned by the industry, where I've felt trying to keep up a standard of work.
Talk to me about that. Like,
Yeah, I just think everything in our game is about getting given an opportunity.
yeah,
If you're not, how can you show yourself if you're not given the opportunity? But there's so many actors out there who just aren't given that opportunity. You
ever.
know, it's such a, I mean, we know that it swings and roundabouts, but it can be such a tough industry. It can be so, through all the joy and the gifts that it brings, I think it can be sometimes really detrimental to your emotional, mental, and financial health,
Yeah.
to your self-esteem, all of that. And in my journey, I mean, my God, I've been so blessed on so many levels, but sometimes it's been really tough as well. Where you're not getting the roles that you want. And, that's, sometimes it can be look at the draw, but there's a lot of brilliant actors out there as well who
Yeah.
deserve the show. So it's such a, I don't know. I just know that you're never bigger than it, and if you're getting to work on good stuff, I just, yeah, I've felt lucky for those times. Yeah,
Thank you for sharing. I'm curious, as cable kind of became bigger, I know you kept doing a lot of really amazing TV work. Did you feel like as you kind of grew into your 30s that you kind of changed the types of roles that you were being seen for? Because, I know a lot of the times in the business when you work as a yet 14 sounds like was your first job, you change a lot as a human.
yeah,
For you, did you start getting to play more interesting character roles in your 30s that you were, or were you having a hard time kind of getting the business to readjust to how you wanted to be seen by the business?
yeah. I think, I mean, definitely in my early 20s and mid 20s, I was getting some amazing roles,
Hmm.
and then there was a period where it didn't work for a while. And I remember I took this series that was deemed, because especially back then, I think it's less so now, an element of snobbery in our industry because it was like soapy,
Hmm.
which, that type of attitude, I think, we're actors, and I hadn't worked for a while, and I've been at it a long time.
Yeah.
That I think that's not cool. I mean, you can go, okay, well, it's good for the ego, like, oh, you shouldn't be doing, well, why shouldn't I? And I think I went and did a show that was deemed like not good enough. And then that was really,
By
and then
who? By the
people in the
reviewers?
end.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it goes that way. And I remember um, I've been seen for this two series of this brilliant TV series, and I weren't cast, and I knew it was going again, but they got me in for two seasons and I weren't cast. And I went and did this show, which was getting to work with brilliant people. And I remember I heard that it was going for a third season. A third, you call it season, we call it series, don't we?
Ah, sorry, got it.
Yeah. And my agent at the time said to me, I said, "Oh my God, I've heard there's like this really good role." Like, and apparently it was like, no, they won't see her because of the show that you've just done. Like no shit. I was like, what?
Are you
Because
kidding me?
yeah, because there was snobbery about it. And so
Wow.
it was like that scene below par, which I just think so out of order for us actors.
Yeah.
Because in our industry, you're never bigger than it. You can try and I've tried to do that, hold on to a path of trying to do good work, or what I perceive as good work, but I apply myself the same to any job I'm doing.
Mhm.
I hit the ground running with the same focus and the same professionalism and the same gratitude, actually, for
Yeah.
it. But it did get a little bit. I mean, there's been times where it's went quite wobbly for me.
At any of those moments, talk to me, obviously you had so many incredible credits. Was there ever a moment of like the cliche, I want to pack my bags and move to LA and give it a go? Was that ever something that you thought about doing?
No, do you know what? I mean, I remember when I was younger and I met an American casting director. My agent set up the meeting, and it was when Priest came out. So I was only 18, 19 at the time. And they were saying this is a really good vehicle for you to come over to America. And I'll be honest, I was too scared to. At that age, I didn't feel ready for it. You know, no, I've never, no, I've never, I've had friends who've done it. I mean, I'd love the experience of it now, but I know I've heard stuff like it's tough, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
isn't it sometimes you guys do like 7 auditions a day or more?
I mean, not in this industry anymore, but in the one before the pandemic. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
before it was safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Oh
Yeah,
man, those are the good days. But
those were
I
the good days.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'm curious since we're bringing up streaming. Talk to me, because I feel like the whole world, before we dig into adolescence, like the last 10 years ago, I would say around 2015 is really when streaming started really kind of becoming at the forefront of the TV culture. For
Yeah.
you working in the UK, did you start to see any changes in the work that you were going in for or the way things were getting made there about 10 years ago?
Yeah, I remember when Sky happened and going to like a first audition for a series for Sky. And I know we all have different experiences, but in mine, I remember like feeling in a wave where you'd be like going to a couple of auditions like
Yeah.
every week. Sometimes like they seem to be like this explosion of stuff getting made.
So
And then
much.
so much. And then it was like radio
I
silence.
know. Um,
And it's like, and as actors, we go, are you working on it? I'm not working. Oh, but they always seem to be working. It's such a, but yeah, I did. I felt that shift of it being really busy and
mhm.
then not, and it not being busy as
Yeah,
well.
God. Oof. It's crickets over here in America right now.
Is
Is
it?
nothing going on. It is brutal. But talk to me about something like, you know, Game of Thrones. Like, did you ever go in for that?
No, no. And I love Game of Thrones.
You did.
I loved it. Yeah. No,
Oh,
no, I didn't. No. I mean, what, my God, imagine
yeah.
getting an audition for that. That'd be amazing.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I'm
oh, I guess they filmed
manifesting.
everywhere. You know, they didn't just film. I don't even know if they filmed that much in the UK, did they?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they had
I
like
would,
7 units, but I mean, at a certain point, because like I feel like Game of Thrones is a perfect example of a show that had a mainly British cast but was an American production. Did you start to feel a shift in auditioning for American shows that wanted British actors? Like,
actors.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really good point there because I think that's sort of around that time is when I've very really taped for anything American, but I think a couple of things came through
Mm.
around that sort of time of Game of Thrones, but it's been very rare for me. There's only been a couple of, I think, like a couple of things that I've taped for that were American shows.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, talk to me then, at a certain point, the pandemic happens. What did that time look like for you?
I was quite lucky with the pandemic because a director I'd worked with before, Adrian Sheargill, to a love, he was shooting a series out in Belgium. And so I know, so I went and started shooting that in Belgium. And I think it was 10 episodes. I think we were on episode 8 when the pandemic hit. So we got stood down, obviously, because they shut all the borders. So
Were you in Belgium for lockdown?
no, I was at home.
Oh,
I'd already
okay.
flew back, but the production had to stand down. So then
Wow.
we were just hoping. So that ray of light was, oh my God, we've still got 2 more episodes to shoot. Once they lift the restriction,
Yeah.
so some of us have still got a job. So no, I was quite lucky because I was in the middle of filming something, got stood down, and then we were allowed to go back out and finish shooting it.
Amazing. Well,
So I was quite lucky. Yeah.
talk to me how, I obviously I knew, Steven, but like how did you know Philip Arantini's work from Boiling Point? Like talk to me how this whole adolescence thing, the very beginning of all of this happened for you.
So I first met Phil when he was 17. Yeah,
Wow.
met Phil and we had a chat about acting because he knew that I was an actress then and he was wanting to get into acting and because I think Phil's a couple of years younger than me. And so yeah, we met. I think Phil was 17 and then I got to work with Phil as a director. I'd seen Boiling Point, a massive fan of Boiling Point. Just thought it was a phenomenal piece of work.
Yeah.
The way it was shot, the cast, the writing, it was just brilliant. Just brilliant. It took me breath away. But Phil, I was shooting on a series called The Responder in Liverpool,
Oh, with
which
Martin Freeman, right?
yeah, with Martin
Yeah.
Freeman. Yeah. And Phil he was in it as an actor. And then he rang me and said he's going to be directing the last episode. So I was so excited I got to work with him as a director.
Amazing.
Oh, so I'd worked with Phil before. I mean, I was only shooting a couple of scenes with Phil, and Matt was on camera.
Same
Oh, and
DP.
same TV, yeah.
Wow.
We filmed this scene like with one shot, and I just loved it. I like working that way, like gives you freedom. Um, so that's the first time I worked with Phil as a director, and then yeah, I mean, when Stephen rang me, I mean, what a gift. I was going through a time where I was my acting still was a bit on the floor. I was feeling really disillusioned. I went, sometimes as an actor, when you just sort of think, well, what's next? You know, yeah, I was feeling quite worried, to be honest with you, just really a bit disillusioned,
Yeah.
again. Because there's phases like over the decades which have been like that's what we do though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it can be up, it can be down, and I'm always so grateful for the work and learning all the time. But I was feeling quite,
And
yeah, a little bit lost with it all.
and so you didn't even know did you know they were working on this project or
No, no, Stephen rang me and said, told me about the role and said, we're going to get the scripts, yeah. Um, I'd like you to play my wife in this drama. And I spoke to Phil and I spoke to Hannah and I read the scripts, I cried, and I was literally skipping down the street, laughing and crying for the past week because I was just so blown away by Stephen and Jack's writing. To get to work with everyone as a team, to get to get to work with Stay, to get to work with Hannah and
yeah.
Phil and Jack. you
Yeah.
know, I'd worked with on a series that Jack I think one of the first series Jack wrote called Glue. So I'd worked on Jack Word's about 20 years ago with the brilliant Faye Marsay, who's also in our show.
Oh, no way. I think I'm talking to
Yeah,
her next
it
week.
was like one of my first jobs. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd done the series Glue, where I played like a Cockney Romanian gypsy. I was like the leads, like I think like she liked to drink, mum in it. And I've met Jack briefly on that, but I think that was about 20 years ago.
Wow.
So it was like such a gift. I mean, what a gift. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
it
then
came at a time for me when I was, when you were feeling, that feel inside you where you just need a bit of a shift. And
yeah.
it was just like,
It
come.
reinvigorated your love.
It is, yeah. I mean, my God. Well,
Yeah.
I was totally blown away and so grateful.
Well, walk me through the process. So you read the scripts. Obviously, you knew what you were getting for. Then did you and Steve, you and Phil, did you guys all get together and start kind of talking through it? Like, what did the process look like for you?
No, no, it was. I had a chat with Stay, and then I'd spoken with Phil and Hannah, and then Stephen had sent me the scripts, and then obviously that an official offer has to come in. Then I got the official offer, um, and then I went up to, I think it was Pontefract, to see the studio that was getting built. I think it was like halfway through getting built. It looked amazing. That was going to be the the police station and the unit that Jamie goes into, and just had a chat with Phil. And then we got stuck into it when we were on the floor in the first week of rehearsals. I
And
mean, it was just honestly, I think as an actress, what I mean, I love my job and I feel so lucky, but what a gift working that way, Ryan.
yeah.
So much freedom working that way, and having, there's an equality on that floor. Our producer Joe Johnson, just such a beautiful woman, brilliant at her job. Hannah,
Yeah.
having Jack and Stay, where we could tweak lines, and a brilliant cast, and then Phil Badantini, who's just the best director ever. He just feels brilliant. He'll just come and give you like a little, I think because he's an actor himself, he'll just give you like a little, and you'll go, yeah. There's just so much freedom and
Yeah.
creativity. Like it's just, yeah, it was amazing.
What was it like for you working with Owen, like having yourself been thrust into a position where it was your first job? You know, I imagine you probably understood better than anyone else what he was embarking on.
Yeah.
What did that look like for you guys when you, because you guys did a little bit of rehearsal before you did the 3 takes a day, right?
Yeah. So the first week is all about the script and marking it out on the floor and working through the scenes. And then second week, camera goes up, rehearsal with camera. And then third week is when we start shooting
Wow.
two, two a day in one take, which is just a brilliant way to work with a fun. I mean, you could you it wouldn't work if there wasn't such a beautiful synchronicity between crew and cast,
Yeah.
and a brilliant cast and a brilliant first in Sarah who was running that for Phil's right hand woman. It was just it was like doing a dance. It was just, and it changed sometimes each time. No take was the same. Seeing Owen and Amelie, who had never been on a professional, it was their first job, a professional acting set
And
before,
a big one at that.
and a big one at
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And Owen, what I found, which amazed me, even though it was quite different back then as well. But being on a set as a kid, they had a great support network as well. But what I found just so fascinating is, episodes one doing all these heavy scenes, and then at lunchtime, the kids would be playing swing ball, having a laugh.
Love that.
Let's just have a lunch, and I'd be like, "Watch the ball doesn't hit you in the face," like the pretend mom, like just can,
Yeah.
where I'd be there going, "Okay, what are we like?"
You're
I mean,
so incredible in this show. Talk to me, in the different takes that you did you throw kind of variations into the levels of emotion you wanted her to have? Or, what it
yeah,
was everything different for you each time? You kind of mentioned it was a little bit for the whole.
I think that's a beautiful thing as well because things shift when you're shooting in one take, which, before when your heart's beating, it's terrifying. But then, you hear action and it's like, and we're off. I mean, it's just that feeling. Like sometimes, like we'd finish a take and it'd be like, wow, like what was that? It's like can't really remember it. I can remember it sometimes, or there'd be
Yeah.
little moments that you remember. But I think shooting that way and also working with such brilliant actors and someone like Stephen, um, with episode four, and Amelie was just, I think, phenomenal, as was Owen. I mean, for two young actors who'd never professionally been on camera before.
Yeah.
Um, Stephen is an actor who raises you higher.
Mhm.
So what you're surrounded by, as you know, lends itself to your performance. So I'm just reacting, but
Yeah.
there's a freedom within that. And with camera as well. If I did like a slight little move, then it's like, we all move together. We all, it changed. Sometimes the tone had changed, but you're just feeding off what is around you. And within that, the freedom of the one take. So I was just, working with Steve as an acting masterclass, and I was safe. I felt in such a safe place. And so you're present within that moment, which makes it more truthful, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it must have been so cool, having someone from your youth and Phil as well to finally be working together. Talk to me.
I mean, it
Um,
was a dream come true to me. I mean, it was
what
an absolute dream come true.
what has it been like for you now? I mean, since it's been out to just see this thing snowball into
I
this
know.
in a time when there's not a lot going on in the business and the whole world rallies behind this show. I mean, it's a testament to all of your work, but your work as well. I mean, how's that felt for you?
I think it's such a privilege to be a part of. I think it's tapped into like a sort of higher universal consciousness globally.
Mhm.
You know, like with people that how global it's gone, and then opening up such important conversations like across the world. I
Yeah.
mean, it's been phenomenal, but so important as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
And
important, you know, it's about our kids and our future generations as well.
it really is. I mean, especially with everything in the administration, particularly in America right now, and some of the people they surround themselves with. I think this show has really been a catalyst for great conversations. But I'd be so curious to ask you, has this opened a lot of doors for you and things that you want to maybe do next?
Yeah, I mean, I felt, and I'm very grateful for it. I felt a shift. I felt a shift, stuff starting to come in. I don't know what I'm going to be working on next, though.
Well,
I've no idea, but I have felt a shift. You know, stuff started coming in, and I think it's that thing. You know, when you've been doing it a while, it's like it's like I'm enjoying the now, but I feel so much gratitude as well, and let's see what comes. You know,
yeah.
but I'm so like just the whole experience of working on adolescence, and then the feedback, like, you know, from people in the streets, from family, from friends, you know, from people globally. It's just, you know, it's been phenomenal.
Well, you
So
guys are going to be
grateful.
nominated. I can feel it. You
You feel
deserve it. Oh
it?
yeah. Oh yeah. Are you kidding me? It's incredible. I mean, but that's great and you deserve these wonderful things. I mean, you've had such an incredible career and I've just been so grateful for you sharing all of this. It's meant so much talking to you, Christine.
Oh, thank you too. It's been lovely talking to you.
I'm curious because I ask every guest this and I know it's not an easy question, but we've spoken a bit about it, but it's such a weird time in this business, particularly for the younger generation that are, let's just say, leaving drama school now, where there's no more in-person auditions.
Yeah.
The everything's changed so much. For the actors out there listening, and just say the artists in general, any words of wisdom you might have?
I just think, you know, yeah. Excuse me. I think you take it day by day. Just take it day by day, and hold on to your own truth. It doesn't define you. It doesn't define you. I mean, ultimately, we love it, and it doesn't feel like work because we love it. But it is a job that we do, and that doesn't define who you are. Whether you know, when you're going through bad times and you're not working, but hold on to your truth. And I just say, keep going on it, keep going on it, and the right one will land. You know, because you deserve it too. I do believe that what's for you won't pass you. And sometimes doing life, I think, can really, you know, at times when I've struggled, when I've not been working as an actress, and doing life can help lend itself maybe sometimes to the roles that are coming, you know. Yeah. But you just hold on to your own truth.
Thank you for saying that. Christine Tremarco, this has been incredible. You have to come back on whatever
Thank
is next. Could talk to you all day. I've loved
I would
speaking
love
with you.
to.
And it really means so much to me coming on here. Your work was incredible, and I know so many more amazing things are coming your way, and you deserve them all. And I'm always rooting for you, and I cannot wait to continue to talk. And I really hope we get a chance to work together.
Oh, me too. Me too. I'd love that. I'd
Yeah.
love that. Thank you. I have not enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much.
Well, you got to come to New York now. You get this whole thing's
I know.
adolescence. Let it be your ticket to America. That's the one thing I'm rooting for.
I know. Honestly, people go to me, you have never been to America. I'm like, no.
Oh man.
I should go there on holiday, shouldn't I?
Yeah, come. Well, hang. We'll see some theater.
Yeah, I'd love that. I'd love that, darling. Oh my God, Broadway.
Yeah. Oh man.
It's always been like a dream of mine as well, like to go and see a play on Broadway.
Well, we got to get you and Steve on Broadway. I think that's what needs to
Oh my
happen.
God, that'd be amazing. That'd be amazing.
Christine Tremarco, thank you so much. Okay.
Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you.